I agree. I think we could all use some peace and reflection.
Yeah.
That's a big thing.
Yeah.
And I think like many of us are in a lot of ways are a prisoner of doubt and fear.
Yeah.
Those are two big factors in a lot of people's lives.
Yeah.
And a lot of people's response to doubt and fear is to not do anything, to not take any chances, to try to live safe, to try to live like a very controlled and simple existence. But then you miss out on experiences.
Nothing to look back on, is there?
You also miss out on there's like living life without fear doesn't mean there's not going to be moments where you're scared and taking chances, because those moments when you do take chances or you do something new, and it could be as simple as like being a 50-year-old man starting jiu-jitsu, or a 50-year-old woman, starting a martial arts class, or something like, I can't believe I'm doing this.
Yeah.
But those moments where you put yourself into vulnerable positions can be very beneficial for you. So it's not a matter of avoiding everything that causes you fear. It's a matter of embracing the uncertainty of life and trying to experience it with as much positivity and as much openness and as much with as least resistance as possible.
Yeah, everything was new once.
Yeah.
So everyone's done something, learned something the first time. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And for me, so what people don't understand is there a massive, massive amount of successes you've had in your life that you thought was impossible. Tying your lace, riding a bike. For me, driving. That was awful.
Driving?
Oh,
why?
Rubbish. I don't know. I was just one of those things that got it into my head that I was rubbish at it. My dad didn't have a car, my mum didn't have a car.
I love rubbish. I love that expression the British
rubbish,
use.
old boy.
I was rubbish at it.
Yeah. And so they had to basically do it because I lived far away from my kids, and now I can drive, and it was something I had to really push myself to do. But I think we're all a collection of successes. Mm-hmm. Tying your lace, writing the date right, telling the time. There's loads of things, but we're too busy kicking the shit out of ourselves about what we've done wrong. For me, when I watched Holly Holm fight last time, when she fought, she looked shell-shocked. Mm-hmm. And I that's my opinion. She looked shell-shocked.
Do you think she was perhaps shell-shocked by the loss to Miesha Tate and then jumping right back into the octagon? Or do you think that she was fighting a very, very difficult opponent?
Yeah, both.
Because Valentina Shevchenko, the woman who she fought, is one of the most experienced strikers in all of MMA, period.
Yeah. Well, her sister was on Infusion Season 6 with us in Thailand. So she's from Peru. I think she lives in Peru, but now she's Russian. I understand that, but she still looks shell-shocked.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? And I think it's part of the process. I mean, I think a lot of gyms, because it's macho, because it's fighting, and you'd be all right, and patting on the back, be all right, you did great today. Mm-hmm. If you have that, I deem it like this. It's like you're doing a whitewash, and you put all your whites in, and then it's like you put your whites. So I've done my strength and conditioning. Oh, right, I've got my diet right. I'm on point for my weight. Blah blah blah. My coach says my BJJ is great, or whatever, or boxing, or whatever the sport may be, or even if it's not sport, your boss or whatever. And then all of a sudden you put one red sock in your wash. Everything goes pink. So that little thought that can infect you. So you say, you might sit there. And the loneliest places, I think, fight someone and lost are in the changing rooms. I think that's my opinion of fighters. They lose in the changing rooms. They have one sort of negative thought. The mind whispers something. It becomes a shout, and then all of a sudden you drag it with you.
Well, fights can be lost.
Yeah.
But no matter how positive your thinking is, if you're fighting Anderson Silva in his prime, you're probably fucked.
Yeah, there is that. But that's why I said it's not a guarantee. Right. Using a mind coach isn't a guarantee you're going to win. Right. For me, it's more help. A strength and condition is not going to make you win.
But it's a massive help.
Yeah, of course it is. I mean, I know the benefit of it. You know the benefit of it because you did a little bit of hypnosis. Joe's in the benefit of it in his life as well as in his fighting. Liam Harrison, who's a good friend of mine, Jordan Watson, and other people that I've worked with and other people that I'll work with in the future. It does give you a benefit. Nerves and self-doubt is a massive hole in your boat. If you're going to do something where you have to have confidence.
For everything in life.
Yes, indeed.
It's not. That's one of the things that I like about fighting is that it's so condensed. It's a very extreme situation. It's sort of like problem solving condensed to like one of the most intense versions of it that we possibly can experience, other than war.
Yeah.
War probably being the most intense version of problem solving.
Yeah.
But you're presenting with all these incredibly difficult challenges, and you have to figure your way through it.
Yeah.
And with a poor mindset or a faulty mindset, you're it's like having a flat tire or having bad brakes. It's like you're traveling in a very precarious way. It's you have a lot of holes in whatever method of distribution that your thoughts and your actions are passing through.
Yeah.
You know, your system of life, like who you are, the way you think about things, the way you think about yourself, the way you think about other people, like that shapes all the results.
Yeah.
All the interactions that you have with people are shaped. It's one of the things that I've always said about like a lot of these interactions that police officers have with people. Like how many of these interactions would be completely different with a more calm police officer, a person who's better at handling people, and how many of them are shaped by someone who's just not that smart or too authoritarian or doesn't know how to read people well or doesn't know how to broach a conversation well,
or
and
dealing
then
with
it goes bad.
Or dealing with something in their own mind.
Yes.
So they're dealing with something in their own mind. Like we talked about Limitless, didn't we, the movie, where Bradley Cooper first takes the pill and he's talking to the Chinese lady on the top of the stairs. I think she's his landlady, is she, or something? She's going bananas.
Right.
She's going bananas at him, you know, talking rubbish. And she's giving him lots of grief and blah, blah, blah. But behind it all is something that was upsetting her.
Right.
Now, that's what you come across a lot in timeline or in anything, really. Is they're actually taught, they're not really taught. People are not their behaviours, as a cliched NLP chat. But people are not their
NLP,
behaviours.
neuro-linguistic
programming, yeah.
What is that about?
That's
Anthony Robbins, right?
Yeah, Anthony Robbins and John Grinder and Richard Bandler were the first people to do it. They modelled a hypnotherapist called Milton Erickson, and they used Milton Erickson language. Milton Erickson was a very, very good hypnotherapist and very, very clever man indeed. So yeah, and it's some of that. I use some of that. Some of it I don't, you know. But you get as you get anything, you understand this. You know, you do your podcast, and as you get more and more into it, you get a feel for it, and that's what you do with my job with the mind coaches. You get a feel of it. I don't always use hypnosis. I do use hypnosis, but not always, because it's not always necessary. It's getting people thinking, reframing something, and saying, "Have you thought of it like that?" and move that out the way, and that changes people's opinions and can have massive effects on them.
So the more people you interact with, the more people you apply these techniques to, the better your understanding of how these techniques work.
Yeah, or the better understanding of people.
Yeah.
I think you've got to be able to talk to people as well doing this job. I think you've got to be able to... No, I'm not saying I massively know loads of stuff, but I know little bits about things, you know, and I don't pretend to know about a lot of things. But it's just about just being able to communicate with people and actually get them, you know? Actually get them. People pretty much want the same things, you know what I mean? Everyone wants to live life as exciting or as easy as possible, you know? You know, and it's like I said before, it's just about language. It's just about deciphering the language, what they're actually talking.
And not even really as easy as possible. Because a lot of people want a life full of adventure, but what they don't want to do is trip over themselves.
Yeah.
Like if you have a difficulty in, say if you're going to climb a mountain, right? I would think that climbing a mountain is difficult enough.
Yeah.
It's hard. You have to figure out what way to grip. You have to have strong hands and strong feet. You have to have an overall awareness of your body and balance, and you have to be physically fit enough to be able to pull yourself and climb up this mountain. If you're paralyzed with fear, if you are consumed with self-doubt, if you're overrun with guilt, if your body is just dealing with the minds, all the haunts of your past, that compounds whatever difficulty, and it makes it way worse.
Yeah, well, that's where, you know, people come to me after fights, and they talk about the last fight. They're still involved in it.
Yes.
You know, they don't take the positives from it. And I say, take the positives and you'll blah, 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 just, you know. But I mean... it's
hard to say. It's hard to do, rather.
See, a lot of things are easy to say and harder to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's go to the moon.
Right.
Busy. You know what I mean? And so it's just, for me, it's like, just getting the person just to sometimes forget something. You know what I mean? And just move on and, right, okay, what did you learn? I learnt this, this and this. Well, that's the point. That's what when we was doing timeline therapy, there was things you learn from that situation that has got you here. Got you the UFC commentator, successful stand-up and all that. It's got you where you've got because of them things that moulded you, Some people do get consumed by fear, which is that's what I like to change. I like to change that.